This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Right out of the door!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Because I'm the Mark and I'm awesome!
The Guru.
Today I'm going to break it down for all you simpleton sweat hogs listening out there in Can Crusher Nation. I don't mean to come out here week after week and toot my own horn, but toot.
And the English Professor.
It is I, the English Professor from the County of Kings, speaking the English of the Queen.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
And welcome back to our year-end show here on Can Crushers. This is one of my favorite shows of the year. It's only once in a while. It's only yearly, before you correct me. Yes, I know. But it is a great show. It is time for our Crushie Awards. Guys, that'll be our second segment before we have other things to get to. Welcome to the show. In studio is the glorious guru, Mr. Chad Pirana, and sitting at home having a cup of tea or coffee, the English Professor. Gentlemen, how are we?
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody. My hair's growing back from my fireball incident.
Not much, but it looks good. At least
it's getting there.
It's shaped this week.
Yeah.
John, I was talking to you earlier. Well, last week you told us about this awesome drink to get, piggyback before we get into, Christmas and we kind of what all we got and everything. Our local liquor store does not have it, so I went with Maker's Mark. We're sitting here having some Maker's Mark today.
That's not bad either. That's pretty good stuff.
Yeah. You've had a few to drink already today?
Just throughout the day, with it being Christmas weekend, we were picking up all the wrapping paper and cardboard and everything. So I had a glass of ice, and periodically I would top it off with the piggyback.
Yeah. I can't wait to try it. So Christmas, how was you guys' Christmas? Because I have something to blow you guys' mind with. And then I'll go last. You guys will both be excited about this. And the listeners, I'm going to push them to getting one of these as well. I don't have it yet, but it's coming. So, Chad, what'd you get for Christmas? How was it? How was the kids?
It was a good Christmas. Vinny, for the first time, woke me up early.
Wow.
Comes crawling into bed at 7 in the morning. Daddy, did Santa Claus come? I think so, bud. I'm not sure. Well, I'm sure, Dad. I went down and looked.
Of course, he's a little son of a gun.
So it was good. He showed some real excitement and what you remember as a kid looking forward to Christmas. He didn't do it before this year, which was odd. He was happy for it and everything, but it was the whole up early, let's go down. His favorite present is a remote-controlled UFO.
Sweet.
That he uses.
Oh, wow.
That he uses his hand, and I paid $40 for this at Walmart. Uses his hand, and if he pushes towards it, it goes away. If he brings his hand back, it follows his hand, as long as he moves his hand slow. Same thing for up and down and sideways.
Is it an outside, or is it
inside or outside? It's pretty durable. Light aluminum.
So you didn't break it yet?
No. We're having fun chasing the cats. The cats do not like it. The dogs were trying to attack it. They thought it was some game bird or something. I don't know.
Sweet.
It was kind of funny, though, to see the dog chasing it, cat running from it, and all three of them going up over the back of the fucking couch.
And Vinny sitting there like, ha, 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 ha.
Now, Dad was the one that was laughing. Vinny was a lookout for Mom.
Oh, nice. And what'd you get? Anything great?
Miami Hurricanes jacket that I've wanted for a long time, and Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve Day, the Straight Shooting series off of Jim Cornette's website came in. 9 hours total with Bobby Heenan over 3 volumes, Bruno Sammartino, Bill Watts, all separate DVDs. I'm through the one of Heenan and some of the shit, just funniest stuff. Bobby Heenan was shot one time by a fan.
Did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he was. I can't remember where the match was, but he was managing Nick Bockwinkel, and of course Nick, having the heat that he did, I think he was beating the shit out of Vern Gagne, and they had threats, but they didn't take him seriously back then, and he got shot once in the shoulder, and they stopped it. And they tried to catch the guy. Nobody knew who the guy was. But then come to find out the guy was shooting at such an angle from where he was, he shot 4 other fans that were in the front row before he fucking hit Heenan.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's some good stuff. And it's sit down. It's not your usual, who's your favorite? Who's this? What would you change? It's just honest discussion. And Bobby Heenan's funny as hell. Oh, my God. Hilarious.
I'll be borrowing that.
No, nobody was killed, Chad, to your knowledge?
No, nobody was killed.
Yeah.
The worst shot was somebody got hit in the, what do you call it, the collarbone just outside the neck.
Collar and elbow?
Jeez.
Not collar and elbow.
Oh.
Just the collar.
Just the collar. No elbow.
Mr. English Professor, how was yours?
It was great. It was a lot of fun. I've got the full collar and elbow shirt on today, not just the collar. And I was supposed to get a few more items. I asked for 1. My wife got me 3. It'll probably get here Monday.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, but she showed me what it was, and I can't wait. She got me a couple of T-shirts and a hoodie. The one T-shirt is collar and elbow, but the BOW, it's blue, and the BOW.
I have that.
Yeah, it makes the Blue World Order.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. It looks awesome. I can't wait.
I can't wait till we wear them together. And you can be the Blue Meanie, and I'll be Supernova.
All right, deal. I know last week I got to watch how loud I speak here. I've told my son everything. I don't lie to him about anything at all. He knows how he and his sister came into this world, right? He knows everything. I don't lie to him.
Where are we going with this?
But there's one thing I just can't bring myself to tell him. He still believes.
It's all right.
Yeah. And his heart is in it. And I think he's starting to get wise to it, but his heart is still in it. So last week, I think I mentioned that a little bit of the bubbly action figure that comes with the table and the bottle of champagne and the championship belt. Santa wasn't able to bring that. But last minute, he did find a 3-pack of the Undisputed Era.
Not bad. That's an upgrade.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's got everybody but Strong. Right? Yeah, everybody but Roderick Strong. It's dope. It really is. And you also got the Slambulance, the WWE Reckon Slambulance. This thing is too much fun. Everything breaks on it. Everything. All the doors, the windows, the hood, the trunk, the stretchers on a gurney. How much fun is that?
So it's made for Braun Strowman just to destroy.
Yeah. I think I could use it. It might be just a little small for the classics. But I think I'm going to go ahead and try to reenact Bundy squashing Hogan, and then they had to put him on the gurney and put him in the ambulance. Which, by the way, I recently watched an interview with Bundy. I know he's been gone for a couple of years, but I watched an interview where he said when they put Hogan in the ambulance, he actually had an idea, and he ran it past Vince. He wanted to go back there and, pull Hogan out of the ambulance and flip the gurney over and splash him again. And Vince was like, no, I can't. We can't do that. And Bundy's like, are you kidding me? The people will want to kill me. It'll be great. It'll sell tickets. Hogan wouldn't go for it. Now look at it. Now you have guys, Braun Strowman flipping the ambulance over. So my collar and elbow stuff didn't show up yet. And I got Sylvan got me a couple of masks, COVID-19 masks. Only one showed up. And it was a New York Yankees one. because I like the tie ones. But I have a couple that are like pink and pink with flowers, and I just jokingly said, I won't be embarrassed to wear this one because it's a Yankees one and they're good. And my wife said, well, you will be embarrassed to wear the one that didn't show up yet. So you guys can imagine what the one is that didn't show up yet.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And it's just so typical 2020. How in the world are they not sold out of a New York Yankees face mask, but they don't have any New York Jets face masks? They're sold out of those.
Right. Hey, I think they picked up a win.
They did.
Yeah,
I think they made one for George on Staten Island. They said, just make that one. And George bought it.
Yeah.
And now Sullivan went and bought another one. Like, damn, now we're going to make another one for this guy?
We'll probably have to make a couple more because once you start styling and profiling in Pittsburgh, there's going to be people coming out of the woodwork.
I'm sure there are.
I'm sure. My Christmas started out well. It actually started out a couple days prior to Christmas. My wife and I were in Walmart, and we talked about buying one of those. You guys know those arcades that Walmart sells for about $400 and everything. We thought about buying one, but then we're like, man, there's only 3 games on it. I was a big fan of NBA Jam. Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan. I love that.
That fucking game is great.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say terrible.
That game was fucking great.
So my wife had to pull me out of Walmart, saying, there's something out there more that you want. There really is. And I'm like, all right, Cal, you're the smart one in this family. I am one that flies by the seat of my pants. So I came home and I did some research to get an arcade system in my house that has maybe 10,000 games. All right, well, wait. You're giving me the finger. Wait a minute. So then I'm like, holy shit. I know what it is. It's $2,600. Never mind. We can't do that. Okay. So I continue to look. Chad's looking at me because we remember something from WrestleFest and WrestleCade. And that's where I'm going. Lo and behold, Mark sits up until 2 o'clock one morning and finds this system. It looks like the old Nintendo 64. There's 30,000 games on this from the Atari 2600 to and including the PlayStation 1. The bonus is it has 2,500 arcade games that weren't on systems. One being WrestleFest, the grand poobah of wrestling games. After looking at this, that, and wired controllers and this and that, we hit the button. $400 later, it will be here hopefully by next Sunday. And we're talking wrestling games that I didn't know existed. WrestleFest is on it. Plug and play. Put it right onto big TV. We opted for the Super Nintendo controllers due to the fact we want this in old school retro gaming system. All the all the N64 games, SmackDown versus Raw, SmackDown Bring Your Pain, all those great games, including the first ever wrestling game for, Nintendo. Just pro wrestling. WrestleMania Challenge, Super Nintendo games, meaning arcade, Royal Rumble, WrestleMania. All those are on here. Okay, so I'm like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm trying to sell this to my wife. She's just saying yes. I thought, well, I probably shouldn't order this yet. So I wake up the next day, and I print out the 16 pages of regular Nintendo games. When she gets up, she comes downstairs, and she's like, what the fuck were you talking about last night? I was sleeping on the couch, you drunk bastard. Awesome. Thank you. So I said, here's every game on the system that I want to buy. She saw all the Marios, the Dr. Marios, the stuff on Genesis, boom, boom. She was like, did you order it yet? And that's why I love my wife. Merry Christmas. So that started out well. Christmas Eve, though, our Christmas kind of took a shitter as we are now sitting in a studio with no furnace. We have heaters plugged in all over the house. That's a project that's going to start tomorrow and or Tuesday once we get funds shifted around and everything. So, yeah, we also get to buy a new furnace for Christmas. But I did go out and buy a Maker's Mark, so that topped off Christmas as well.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I
don't even know what to say.
All in all, it was a great Christmas. It's a hiccup in the stratosphere. You have to roll with the punches. 2020 sucks a big dick. So, hey, I'm getting WrestleFest.
That's great.
Yeah.
You guys, you have your health and what else is there really?
Maker's Mark.
And Maker's Mark. So that's good.
All right. Now, kind of to bring it down, I know we talked about Christmas, and we kind of started this show off with a bang and a joy and everything, but literally, guys, 5 minutes before I hit the record button, we get the word, Brodie Lee has passed away. Brodie Lee, Luke Harper. You guys, if you don't know him in AEW as Brodie Lee, you know him as Luke Harper in the WWE. He passed away literally minutes before we started recording this show, and we're not doctors. We don't know anything, but we know he passed away at the Mayo Clinic. Chad's got a little bit about it. But again, we don't want to speculate. Twitter and everything is going nuts. I'm sure it's still going nuts as you guys are listening to this too, that more and more is going to come out.
This was a shock. I was just sitting with Sue, just looking, hey, did anything come up wrestling-wise? And literally 20 seconds before was the first post, I saw AEW, and I was like, what the fuck? And then I read it and realized it wasn't bullshit or anything. 41 years old.
Yeah, that's scary.
These guys go out, they entertain us, they do their jobs, they live their lives for the spotlight, but a lot of them, ton of them, families, this is just a shocker. I mean, I'm 7 years older than this guy.
I'm 2.
And this is just, it's one thing, and we'll talk about another wrestler that passed away here in a few minutes, but he was a great big man. I remember when I seen him throw a drop kick when he was teaming with Eric Rowan. This is a shocker. I want to say, and I say this not jokingly, 100% serious, in reading the announcement from his wife. She says, I can't express my love and admiration for the way that All Elite Wrestling has treated not only my husband, but myself and my kids through this ordeal. In there was Cody Rhodes, Brandy Rhodes, and I was kind of shocked. The Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. This is really the first thing I've ever seen about them supporting somebody, not saying that they didn't. You know what I think of them as wrestlers and stuff like that, but
this is a different matter.
They're taking care, they're taking care of their family, and it kind of it shows a bit. This fucking year sucks.
John,
it's devastating. Not much more to say beyond that. Chad kind of covered it all. Very talented big man. We knew him as Brodie Lee or Luke Harper, but everything I've read is Jon Huber was just a really good man. Loved by his family, loved in the business by his peers. This is devastating. It's a shock.
We'll raise our glasses to Mr. Brodie Lee. I asked you guys real quick, and just going with the wrestling here real quick. This to me, this has to be the end of the Dark Order breakup or something, because he was a key cog in the whole Dark Order, bringing him and everything. And I'd be all right with it. I love all the guys that can go their separate ways, repackage Evil Uno or something to keep it going. But I think that's a big hurt for AEW. It really was, because he was a huge sign once he left WWE.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think more will come out. He's been out a while with supposed knee injury. Couldn't really find anything if it was legit. It was just mentioned because when he had that match on AEW on Dynamite, and then he was gone, and he's been gone since then. Again, when more stuff becomes available, maybe we'll talk about it
next week.
And
the sad part is another wrestler passed away this morning. Old school wrestler. I don't know much about. So I'll let Chad mention this one.
A great shooter / professional / original badass, Danny Hodge, passed away. The younger generations will have no clues to who he was, but this was a guy that was a technical master as a big guy back in the 50s, 60s. A lot of wrestlers, hey, I trained with him. He trained me, his philosophy and stuff. And one of my Christmas presents, I was listening to Bobby Heenan was talking about him and saying how people tried to take advantage of him because he was such a nice guy, but he was firm and he was extremely fair with them. Another one of all people, and he's, next to me, probably the grumpiest bastard on the earth, Ole Anderson, talks about how when he broke in, Danny Hodge was his trainer, and saying how he went in as a big cocky kid, 270 pounds, and here was Hodge at 180, and Ole was like, I'm going to whip this old guy's ass, because to Ole, he was old. He was in his 30s at the time. So holy shit, Hodge was old. And he said Hodge twisted him up like a fucking pretzel. Every joint, every inch of him hurt. And he was thanking God that he made it out of his training. And he said he always loved the guy, and he was always a fair guy. This is another less important a hit to wrestling history, to the Bruno Sammartino and before generation. Danny Hodge is just a hell of a dude. If you can find any of his stuff on YouTube, or I think Cornette will put some stuff out this week, well worth watching.
Undefeated amateur boxer, Golden Glove, had a successful professional boxing career as well. So definitely a legit badass, pro boxer and pro wrestler.
So it's horrible, but here's to Danny Hodge as well, guys. Drink one for him as well.
88 years old. Good long life. That's good to see.
Good to see. All right, shifting back into what went on in wrestling this week. Guys, we said we're just going to touch on a few things. So let's just start really right off the bat. Last week we had a pay-per-view. Thoughts overall on TLC? Mine right off the bat is, how do they bring Bray Wyatt back? I know it's wrestling and anything can happen, but for the love of all money, how does Bray Wyatt come back after he's set on fire?
I don't know. There wasn't a thing worth anything on that pay-per-view. That might have been the weakest pay-per-view this year, other than when they couldn't figure out whether to take the stairs or the elevators to the ladder earlier this summer.
So you hated it?
I hated it. I really did. There's stuff I loved later in the week. I hated the pay-per-view, though. I thought it was garbage.
I'm with you. Actually, Sunday night is the night that I was doing the research for the O-Droid X4 is what it's called, guys. Yeah, if you want to know more about it, send me an email at cancrusher69@gmail.com, and I'll send you the link to where I bought it from if you guys are gamers like us. But, yeah, this is actually when I was doing everything, John. So when you were talking to me during the pay-per-view, I would glance up or whatever. I was all in video game mode. I didn't put 5 solid minutes into this pay-per-view that gave two shits.
It wasn't great. It wasn't great.
Well, but was it... I'll let Chad talk here in a minute, but was it the worst? Do you think it's the worst? I can't imagine anything being weaker than Money in the Bank.
It's second, maybe third, if I had to think hard enough of another one that was worse. But, yeah, Money in the Bank was terrible. This was right up there.
Okay. Chad?
Off the top of my head, yeah, this is the second worst next to Money in the Bank. I would have to honestly research to remember because there was nothing memorable this year with WWE pay-per-views. Unless you count them fucking ending and putting us out of our misery. This pay-per-view was not good. Everything was so fucking predictable.
KO touched the belt 105 times. If you go back and watch it, 105 times, I don't really know. But he couldn't figure out how to unstrap it. Like, he was up there by himself for moments.
I think he ordered a fucking pizza.
Yeah.
How many times have I said the reason Razor Ramon is a 4-time Intercontinental Champion and not 3 is because at a house show somewhere, he's standing there on the ladder and Jarrett was either hurt or missed his spot. He's like, well, what the hell am I going to do? Pull the belt down. I'll lose it, the next town over. Maybe you can't do that anymore, but you also can't just hang out there and wait for somebody to show up if they're not showing up.
When a wrestler can put his hand on Vince McMahon's shoulder and get suspended for 30 days on a fucking on-stage thing, Owens, I don't want to say Owens was scared, but he knew exactly what the fuck would happen. If he would have pulled it. And John, I was honestly thinking the same thing. Pull the fucking belt down. Let him deal with it the next day. Don't make it look any fucking dumber than it is.
And it did.
And the only thing I will say there was one good thing about this. The fucking Miz didn't get the title. But
that's where I was going next.
But do you want to take it or?
No, go ahead.
But I said this when fucking John Morrison came down with the thing, with the Miz, and Morrison handed it over. I said, this is going to be a fucking storyline. Sue was in there. She didn't give a shit what was going on. She was reading a book, and she looked up. She's like, what do you mean he's turning in a briefcase? I said, you fucking watch tomorrow night by 8:45, Miz will be on there saying, I didn't turn in the thing. He did.
Yeah.
And I knew it.
And before we got there, I was going to be the one that bitches and said, Otis wins it earlier this year, which we all said was blasphemy and a bunch of horseshit garbage.
No, we all didn't say that. You two did.
You wanted Otis to win. You were
better than anybody else. It could have had a storyline.
And then Miz cashes it in, and it says cashews it in on my notes. That's how much I was paying attention. I hate when they're wasted. I really hate when Money in the Bank. It's supposed to be a gimmick, okay? It is a gimmick. Surprise, whatever. When you lose it, then it's horseshit, and that brings us to Monday. And then we'll talk about that if you want to. But I want to congratulate turning the page in 2021, and I'm congratulating you both for picking Charlotte and saying they were going to win the title. So
now I will say
to you two motherfuckers.
I will say that I did not think they were going to win the titles.
Well,
I was extremely surprised that they did, but coming right back on the show, right back into the same thing. I will say this, joking, but Charlotte took off time for health reasons to do with her chest and such, causing health problems. She also got a nose job. For now, I was glad to see her back.
I was
glad to see her back.
Yeah.
I think I just listened to the show from last week. I don't think I predicted they would win the belts. Chad and I both predicted that Charlotte would return. I think I still said that the champs would retain. Nevertheless, and I remember texting you during the course of that match, Mark, saying there's too much talent in this match for it to be just so choppy, and I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like it.
Yeah. All right. Anything else you guys want to broach on through the whole week? I will say congratulations to Big E for winning the Intercontinental Championship. I think it's a step in the right direction. I was a big fan of the Sami Zayn shtick that he was
Fidel
doing.
Castro.
Yeah, I like that, and maybe he'll come back to that. So congrats to Big E. Yeah, I'm done.
I thought SmackDown was superb. When's the last time I said that? This was the best episode of SmackDown in a long, long time. That cage match was very good. There was good drama. Not a lot of snoozing in the corner. I like getting handcuffed. Kevin Owens getting handcuffed to the cage, and Roman Reigns being a giant douchebag, kind of taking his time getting out of there and then getting to the last step. I texted you, Mark. I thought for a second Jey Uso lost some teeth. That door came flying out, smacked him right in the mouth.
He sold that well.
He lost two teeth.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Yeah, that was reported right after he got 2 teeth knocked out.
I knew it. I saw him get hit, and I thought he had to have lost teeth. Not that I wish that, but holy cow, did that look unbelievable. Big E's match was really good. The women's triple threat tag team match was great. There wasn't a moment where there was any lack of energy or action. All the pin breakups made sense when they happened. The tags made sense when they happened. And it was elimination, which was cool to see. I enjoyed SmackDown. SmackDown was better than the pay-per-view. A 2-hour show, 4 matches. Each one was between 20 and 40 minutes or thereabouts. That was a really good show.
Yeah, SmackDown wasn't bad. Raw,
Yeah.
Only other thing I got out is that I'm curious, just because he's always been one of my favorites, when they bring Seth Rollins back next week, how do they bring him back? Are they
bringing him back next week?
Yes, he is going to be on the show next week. How are they going to bring him back?
Any others across the board you guys want to talk about? I took no notes. I stuck to my guns. I watched wrestling for wrestling. I fast forwarded where I wanted to fast forward. I just kept it chill this week because I'm more excited about the next segment already.
I watched NXT, and then AEW came on after that because there was a basketball game. And I'm old-fashioned. I just had the conversation my wife and I did. We had the conversation with our kids. Back in the day, when it was on was when you watched it. In the days before the VHS, you couldn't record stuff.
In a DVR is what they're called now.
Right. But back in the day, you watched it when you watched it. And if you missed an episode of Dallas, that was pretty much it. When summer rolled around, you might catch a rerun. But usually summer was when they showed the made-for-TV movies with, like, Henry Winkler playing a psycho killer or whatever.
Saved by the Bell, the college years.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So if you missed it, you missed it. And that's what happened to me with AEW, because I finally was like, Sylvan, I'm done, buddy. You can stay up if you want. You don't have school. He watched 4 straight hours. Filled me in, but I didn't see any of it.
Yeah. You good?
Yeah, there wasn't really anything.
No.
Anything through either of the shows. I watched NXT, and I recorded AEW. I would not even start to watch it because I knew I'd fucking get interested and want to watch it. And I watched like the first 5 minutes of it, and they announced that the Young Bucks match was going to be the main event. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not fucking staying up to watch this. So I recorded it the next day. I watched it, skimmed through it. It was just a show didn't really further anything. Other than next week, what the fuck is his name? Hager
And Wardlow
announced that he challenged Wardlow and Tony Khan has made the match, and that has Jericho with his, resting his elbow on his third roll of his gut, and MJF worrying about what the fuck's going to go on. Nothing.
How was Dustin versus Evil Uno? That's the only thing that really interested me. Was it all right? Yeah,
it was okay. Yeah,
it was okay.
Jurassic Express. I think the best thing that came out of AEW, I guess now I'm thinking about it, was FTR and Tully's promo on the Jurassic Express and who the hell else. I can't think on who the hell. But Tully, that motherfucker hasn't lost a step in his promo. Holy shit.
And we'll get there. That might have been a promo of the year, huh? Maybe.
It may have.
But we'll find out. Guys, let's move along. Let's get into the Can Crusher Awards. We call them the Crushies. But first, we have to take care of some business. And first and foremost, I personally want to thank everybody that's ordered this year from Collar and Elbow using the promo code Can Crushers, all one word, capital C and Can, capital C and Crushers. Big spike in December, and I know one of our diehard listeners, Mr. Pasquale Rocco Lupino III, finally opened up his Moth collection and bought some Collar and Elbow memorabilia, apparel, or whatever you want to say, and he finally sent me a note saying, holy shit, these shirts are nice. Haven't we been telling you now for a year and a half, you dumb bastard? We told you. Yeah, poor Pat.
Fuck Pat.
John, you got a lot this year. I didn't want to say this, mine didn't come either. That's why I have my old school Collar and Elbow shirt on, but I'm wearing, Kelly got me a new Pit hoodie this year that's nice, so I'm waiting. She said the Nasty Boys won in something else. I forgot, but I'm excited. But, yeah, Collar and Elbow. Hats, hoodies, tees, below the belt apparel, as John said last week, all comfortable, and it is now confirmed from Mr. Pasquale Rocco Lupino III that it's comfy. It's comfy. Use Can Crushers. All one word. John, how much do you save?
You will save 10% when you use that promo code.
And holy shit, another breaking news I just seen on here. Did you see that Al Snow's first dog was found in an iceberg in Alaska?
Jeez.
104 years old.
So the dog's younger than he is?
Yes.
Wow. Side note, it was nice waking up Christmas morning. Al must have been up until like 5 o'clock. He must have been out with Santa Claus. It was great getting a text from Al Christmas morning saying, hey, I wish all three of you a very Merry Christmas. Thank you, Can Crushers, for everything you do. So
that's nice. Thank you so much. That's great.
That's cool.
He does. I'll tell you, he does listen.
You fucking tell me that after I bag on his age.
I bag on his age every time I talk to him.
Okay.
So it's okay. Here comes Al to tell you more about Can Crushers, about Collar and Elbow better than we do, and then we'll be back with the Crushie Awards. And I don't know, I think it went up to 16, 17 categories. They're going to be fun, guys.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, and my favorite podcast is Can Crushers. It should be yours too.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. It is I, the English professor, joined by Chad the Glorious Guru and Mark the Mark. And this is Mark's favorite show of the year, the Crushies. It's the time when we sort of reflect on the entire year in professional wrestling and award the very best of the best. And this year, Mark and Chad, instead of the top 5, we're only doing the top 3 in each category. So this really is the very best of 2020.
Yeah, 2020 has been a rough year. Let's realistically put this in that, I mean, there hasn't been a real pay-per-view since March.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's been rough what they had to do. So does that mean we're cutting them slack? No, not really. But does it mean some of them could have stepped up their game some more? Yeah. Yeah, I think you're going to be shocked. So we don't talk about these at all. I don't know what these two jagalones are going to come out with.
Well, you know, Charlotte Flair is going to be Wrestler of the Year for fucking John.
Well, she was last year. So we don't know what they're going to do. So essentially, we all have our own Crushie Awards that we're buying either participation trophies and handing them out when we see these people. But yeah, these are our Crushie Awards. I hope you guys will send us some notes about how you like them or what you thought that were dickbags about. And this Maker's Mark is amazing. I have my Maker's Mark in with a little bit of cherry Pepsi. Oh, by the way, breaking news. I'm slowly getting my everything back. I can smell cinnamon. I can smell, like, spices. And sweet stuff I can taste. I had sweet mustard yesterday, and it kind of round everything up. So I'm getting everything back slowly. I still didn't taste ham today worth anything. It tasted like rubber.
Yeah, you're going to smell something after these awards are over.
What The Rock is cooking.
Yeah.
All right. The hardest one that we had to come up with this year, and I'm going to start right there because I was kind of flabbergasted. We're going to start with Manager of the Year, and we're going to start with John.
This one was actually the easiest for me because there are so few choices. At first I was like, oh my God, there are no managers anymore. Where do I go? And then I thought, well, duh. So with that being said, in at number 3, Jake the Snake Roberts. You're going to see a theme here. In at number 2, Tully Blanchard. And in at number 1, Arn Anderson. That guy has reinvented what it is to be a wrestling manager. I swear I'm not going to go off on a tangent about all these like this, but when you talk about the very best ever, you know, everybody says Bobby Heenan. If we graded things now the way we graded things in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever, if Arn Anderson were to continue to have a career as a manager, I think he'd rival anybody. Anybody. Gary Hart, the Grand Wizard, on and on. I think he's excellent. He has reinvented this role for the modern era.
Chad?
My number 3 is going to go to Taz for pure and simple reason. The stable he's put together, his promos, it's just a good stable. 2 is Tully Blanchard. I thought that FTR needed a voice to get over a little bit, and holy shit, Tully still can rock the promos and everything else, and he's interfered a bit in key situations. Number 1, Arn. I forgot who John had said number 1.
Tully. Yeah, I said Arn too.
Arn. You got to go with Arn. The playbook, the coaching dust, and a little bit obviously different than, you know, yesteryear's great managers, but he was doing what he had to do. You're not ready for this. Trying to do the Rocky thing of feeding Cody underneath guys. They were playing that with Horse or whatever the fuck his name. Warhorse. Yeah, Warhorse. Feeding them those names and stuff like that. Arn to me was.
Mine, you guys took the whole year in conglomerate, and I'm taking it since they've had titles. So number 3 for me is Arn Anderson. Cody lost it a while back. Cody has not gotten it back. So there's that. Number 2, Tully, because FTR, yes, they had the titles, but they have lost them. And the only manager on my list with a team heading into 2021 with titles is a dime piece. So my number 1 goes to a manager that legit still has titles in her stable. So it goes to the dime piece. Jake doesn't have a title. The FTW, not a sanctions title, so I didn't look at those two at all. So only one manager in wrestling right now has a title, and it's the Can Crusher alum, dime piece.
So you kayfabed yours.
Clearly.
Yeah, too bad she doesn't get rid of those 2 jackasses that she has and somebody else give the titles to.
You'll catch on to that real quick. Let's go with Return of the Year. And we'll start with Chad on this one.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
These, I would have to say, number 3, Tommaso Ciampa coming back early in the year before his second injury. When he come out with Adam Cole was NXT champion at the time. And that music hit, and the fucking crowd, because there were still crowds at the time, exploded. That's probably, I don't know if we have it, because you added like 42 fucking categories. That's like the pop of the year off the top of my head was his return. This one, number 2, is kind of hard. I'm going to go a different direction. I'm going to say Finn Balor in coming back, and he had a couple of matches, got the NXT title, and got knocked out, but he's come back as in his name's out there again, and he's gonna be a force in NXT. The other comeback of the year, number 1. God, who do you go with? Shit. I'm having a fucking hard time with this one.
There's big names that came back. I mean, it maybe only did a match or so, or just an interview.
I got it. No. This one. Now that the name hit me, this is kind of easy for me. MVP. Coming back, the promos, getting in wrestling decently often. Having the Hurt Business together. I think this has come back out of obscurity for him.
Touche. John?
In at number 3, Karrion Kross and Scarlett to NXT. Karrion is a freaking beast, and Scarlett is a she-Satan. In at number 2, Wardlow to IWC at Base Brawl. And in at number 1, maybe with the exception of Stone Cold Steve Austin, this was the scariest injury I have ever seen when Tommaso Ciampa landed straight on his head. It's good to see him back and really doing some great stuff since coming back. So in at number 1, Tommaso Ciampa, best return of the year.
I got kind of both the years. Well, I got one. Yeah, I have Wardlow to save IWC at number 3. Never thought I'd say this. Roman was a breath of fresh air.
Breath of fresh about that.
Yeah,
breath of fresh air.
Breath of fresh air. I was never a fan. What he's done since he's came back to WWE, show up and wreck everybody, and I'm engulfed in the storyline. I can't wait to see what the hell was his name? Luther Reigns come back and destroy him at some point at WrestleMania.
The true Reigns.
And, yeah, listen, I'm Mark the Mark. I really am. Sting to AEW. He hasn't done anything but talked and waved the talking bat around, but, hey, I'm all for it. I'm a Mark. We'll see. Next year, he could be the biggest disappointment. I don't know. But, yeah. So, Wardlow, Roman, and Sting.
Good stuff.
ones that we didn't talk about, like Edge. But it was a one-off match, and then he actually got hurt, and he could get it again next year with the same Randy Orton match. Or, I mean, there's a lot that did come back. You could have thrown Charlotte on that, John, but he didn't.
No. Was not terribly. I'm glad to see her back. I think, again, her match Friday night in the triple threat tag team match was better. Was not impressed with her return to the pay-per-view. Just didn't think it was a good match.
Coming up, let's do promotion of the year, and we'll start with John.
Let me find. Okay, promotion of the year. In at number 3, AEW. In at number 2, IWC. And in at number 1, NXT. They're just doing so much good stuff. It's my favorite brand.
Chad?
In at number 3, IWC. Doing as much as they can to get wrestling to us. Considering all the, what do you call it? The
COVID
rules and regulations related to COVID and everything. A true promotion, keeping it alive, doing their best. Number 2, I got to go with NXT. Just consistently, I know they're technically WWE, but I look at them separate because there is such a difference in the 3 shows and quality every week. On NXT's worst show, they're better than fucking Raw and SmackDown put together.
Best show.
The best show. Yeah. And then I gotta go with AEW. They've done some stupid shit. But if you go action, if you go matchups, if you go storylines, nobody's done it better than they have across the board.
I have all you guys', I really do. I took a little twist, though, at my number 2. So number 3 for me is NXT. It's not that I dislike it or anything, but it's just number 3 for me. Number 2, I kind of looped in 3 because they're still trying to get wrestling to you, and we call them independent wrestling, essentially, on the show. So it's IWC, OVW, and Imagined. So I put all those kind of together, and I loop that as like independent shows because there's big brands that have taken so much time off, a whole year off or 8 months off, but independent wrestling is still trying to get something to their fans. Have it be at a baseball stadium or at a tennis courts or at a slumber camp or something. So independent wrestling is still trying to feed the needs when big brands can't. Have it be in empty arenas. And then number 1 for me is AEW. Seriously, look how much we've talked about AEW and we've skimmed over WWE in a nutshell, that AEW has just been, for all of us, kind of can't miss. Have it be good or bad. Because there's times that we're like, why the hell are we seeing 75 suplexes from one end zone to the other compared to, some of the great matches that'll come up when we talk about match of the year. So, nice, guys. Nice. We're blowing through these way faster than I thought. I thought some of you would be a little long-winded. No? Nothing?
Not yet.
All right. How about promo of the year? And we'll start with John. Who gave the best promo of the year?
So, in at number 3, I have the Undisputed Era from about a month ago. The promo leading into their War Games match against Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne and company. I was like, that's par for the course these days. But I thought when Adam Cole had the mic, he did some really great work. A lot of passion. And which one is it? Not Strong, not O'Reilly. Fish. Fish doesn't say much, but when he does, it counts. And I really got an old school Horseman feel to this promo. Like when they were baby faces, when Flair and the Andersons were good guys in 89, 90. That's how I felt about the Undisputed Era here, that they've had their licks, they've had their losses, they've been villains. And even though they may be the good guys now, they're still the same guys as Arn Anderson would say to smack his grandmother over the head with a steel chair for 50 cents for the candy store or whatever. But I got that same sense. And Arn Anderson said something to that effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in at number 3, the Undisputed Era, their promo leading into the War Games match. I was really torn between 1 and 2. They're like 1A and 1B, but I'll leave it as is. In at number 2, Eddie Kingston. That just was so great, leading into his match with Jon Moxley. I never gave you a grandson. I never gave you a daughter-in-law, but look, Ma, look what I got. So good. So good. It was personal. Great stuff from Eddie Kingston. The guy doesn't know how to do a bad promo. All he has to do is be himself, and the promos are brilliant. And just edging him out at number 1, Jon Moxley. It was a promo maybe for this match, maybe for somebody else. I honestly don't remember. I just remember him saying, life is a series of events that lead to violence or something like that. And it was hilarious. He said, like, move your car. I don't want to move my car. I'm going to give you a ticket. I don't care. I won't pay it. Then we're going to arrest you. Well, I'm not going to jail. Or even then he says, I have you in the arm bar. You better tap out. I don't want to tap out. Well, I'm going to break your arm. Moxley's had some great promos, too, since he joined AEW. He's really found his footing, but that one really stood out to me. It made me laugh. So those are my top 3.
Number 3, I'm going to come in with Kevin Owens' first promo when he started his feud with Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, calling Uso Reigns' little bitch, and he was typical Kevin Owens, and he's got a gift for the gab. He always has, even back in Ring of Honor. Number 2, this I'm like with John, 1A, 1B on this one. Number 2, I got to go with the Undisputed Era, specifically Adam Cole, because he's pretty much the voice for the group. To borrow one of Jim Cornette's sayings, when Adam Cole gets a mic in front of him, he's as slick as cum on a gold tooth.
Jesus God. I didn't know it was going to be that one. Okay.
But I had to throw it in there. Number 1, honestly, was there anybody better than Eddie Kingston this year? Not the last week or two where he's, feuding with fucking stuff. Conan and La Parka or whatever the hell and that stuff. The ones where he was going against Moxley and that was old school. You felt it. You were like, this motherfucker feels like Moxley left him behind. He feels like, man, you could have fucking, without saying it, you could have brought me along with you for the ride, and you didn't. I don't think there was anybody better on the mic than Eddie Kingston.
3-1 all the time. This one got me being a dad and a family man. I really felt her when Becky announced her pregnancy. Honestly, you could take Asuka out doing her nonsense and everything, but Becky's pregnancy announcement was pretty cool. It really was. Number 2, recently Cody and Taz having that little spat in the ring where Cody says, ask your son who he's training with. That week, I know on the show, all 3 of us went apeshit. We're like, oh! So, yeah. And I echo Chad and John as well, being at 1B and 1A and everything. Kingston was golden pipes this year. On fire, just anything he rolled with was unbelievable. He just needs a mic. He needs a mic all the time. I know that I'm not a big fan of Phoenix and Pac and those guys. Eddie Kingston's making me be a fan of that just because of the way he talks.
I'm a big fan of Asuka. Does she need to tone it down a little bit already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Vince McMahon's ignorance, and Kairi Sane talked about this after she left. His ignorance of having her scream and stuff and not talk, and it's just too much.
Everybody's ready for Asuka anymore.
Yeah.
That saying needs to be over. She's lost matches to Lana, for the love of God. Everybody's ready for Asuka. Can we move on with that and make her just do something else?
That'd be a good idea. Speaking of something else, I'm going to throw a curveball at you.
Good. The downfall is we might pause this segment because I'm out.
One-liner of the year.
Holy fuck.
Top 3 comments.
You're going to make me do this now with no notes.
Go get it. Yes. I want to see if you can think of something.
All right. Will John go first?
John can
you
go
two
first.
go first. I'll mix a drink and come back. This way I don't know what you're saying.
One-liner of the year.
Smart-ass comment or something.
Oh, boy. I honestly, I don't know. I'm at a loss. I know they kind of micromanage, especially in WWE, don't allow you to ad-lib. You know, I guess Kofi Kingston comes to mind. He told someone, don't step on my line, or I was still speaking or something. Something to that effect. That stands out, but that's about it.
Wow, John, I thought you would have gotten I'd have to go number 3.
Oh, did you name 3 of them?
No, John can only come up with 1.
Oh, that's all we're coming up with. You said one-liner.
I said best one-liner. Up to 3.
One.
Okay. So, if we're just going to go with the best one-liner, was there anything better than Tony Schiavone saying,
that's what I was coming with.
Callus, you can kiss my ass?
Right.
There wasn't anything better than that.
I agree. That's what I was going to go with, and I didn't. John, what did you say?
I just said, like, when Kofi Kingston said, don't step on my line or something like that.
I'm not done yet.
I'm not done yet. What was when there were fans there, was that last year?
Yeah, probably.
Did she not speak? Okay. I didn't know if it was, like, earlier this year. No, it had to be last year where the hell was she when she asked all those people with the dumb Whataburger looks on their faces or whatever? That had to be last year, but that was great. They were booing her so heartily, and I'm seeing a lot of confusion on all these Whataburger faces. And the place erupted, but I think that was technically 2019.
Essentially.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll along. Rookie of the year. Rookie of the year.
Who's going first?
Who wants to go first?
Oh, Jesus.
John does. Because Chad looks stumped.
All right. In at number 3. I don't know if he's a rookie, really, but I've only just now been introduced to him.
So that classifies you as a rookie. So it could be anybody that you've never seen as your rookie.
Well, Leon Ruff.
Oh.
Wow.
Not a fan, but, guy's got some talent. So I'm going with Leon Ruff. In at number 2, Top Flight. Are they rookies?
Yep.
Okay. And in at number 1, this is a no-brainer in my opinion. He's IWC's Rookie of the Year. A1 Anthony Young.
Chad?
I got to go, John. Agree with him on 3. Ruff, just based on his upset of Gargano in the title. And he's got talent. I'm undecided on him, but he's got the talent.
Baby cheeseburger.
Baby cheeseburger.
Not the cheeseburger that we know from Ridgeway that's passed away, God rest his soul.
Yeah. He's like a mini cheeseburger.
Right.
White Castle. Number 2. Gosh, if we're going on John's logic, thank God, because I couldn't think of anybody else that really fit it. Rookie of the Year. God damn, I have my number 1, but I'm scratching number 2. I'm throwing I can't fucking think of one roll out. And then I'm going with Anthony Young with IWC. With John, his matches that he's had this year, dude is good.
Yeah.
He's has a mix of classic in with, today's, like it or not, more of the aerial maneuvers. I don't want to say acrobatic. I'll say aerial maneuvers. He's kind of a breath of fresh air.
Fuck you. You said it fast. My rookie of the years. You guys know how much I am high on this gal. I love her. Hopefully next year we can get her on for a spotlight because I'm a tea-sipping bitch. Ella Shea. What she's doing in IWC right now, she's had title shots. She's aligned herself with Ray Lynn, who was the former IWC champion. She got her title shot against Katie Arquette. Damn near beat her. There's nothing more. She's unbelievable. She really is. Number 2 is Braden Elliott from Imagine Wrestling. Man's phenomenal as well. I put him and my number 1, who is a now Can Crusher alum, if you listen to this past Wednesday show, Anthony Young, A1. Across the board, we believe that A1 is just it. Braden Elliott's right there with them. If one wasn't there, the other one would be number 1, vice versa. These, we went very heavy indie because they truly are rookie of the years. You guys throwing in Leon Ruff, cool. I'm all right with that. But these guys are legit rookies just graduating from their said training school. So congratulations to all of you. I'll throw Leon Ruff in there as well. For having a great rookie year. This is unbelievable what they did. And that just means that, the wrestling business is in great hands. Huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing. Everything you just said, Mark, we know who rookies are locally because they're genuine rookies. But I don't know where else Leon Ruff has worked or how long he's been in the business. He seems pretty brand spanking new, but he's had a good year.
Yeah.
Throw out an honorable.
Here we go, Chad.
No, this is
honorable mention.
No, this one honorable mention because we didn't see a lot of
Pat
her.
McAfee.
No, fuck Pat McAfee. He's right along the lines of Twinkle Toes McFinger fucking Young Screws.
He's not a rookie though.
No, you mean the Martinez. I forget her first name in NXT.
Mercedes. She's not a rookie. She's years into the business.
I'm saying bringing her in the way they did, if we didn't know any better, that would be, she's kind of into the national spotlight and making a good fucking showing for herself.
Yeah.
And that...
You can say that for Raquel Gonzalez then, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is something that, why I wanted to bring it up. How often do you see WWE bring somebody in from the outside, not a Sting, not anybody like that, but bring somebody in from the outside that's not really known and put them in high-profile situations? They don't do it.
All right. How about we go event of the year? Event of the year. And, Chad, you got to start this one.
Wow. The IWC, was it home?
Back in business or homecoming?
The one where Wardlow came.
Oh, that was
Wardlow came back.
Base Brawl. Base Brawl.
I put that at number 3. They build up real well for that, for the main event, and bringing Wardlow back, that really helped. God, I wish that could have been like a normal event. Normal circumstances. Number 2, oh God, this is hard with the COVID shit. Number 2, I'm going to go to our 2 weeks ago Ring of Honor Final Battle. Good to great matches, top to bottom. There just wasn't anything bad on the card. Number 1, the NXT TakeOver, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to wing wing all these. The NXT takeover where Adam Cole beat, or no, I'm sorry, where Keith Lee beat Adam Cole.
I don't know the number.
For the title. A good match. I mean, given their size difference and everything, they were able to play to each other's strengths and weaknesses and put on a really good match.
John?
All right. Events of the year. In at number 3, I have IWC's feature presentation. My son and I went to that. We sat, we talked about this on the show. We sat in our car for a little bit. We sat on lawn chairs. It was awesome. It had everything you could want. Established guys against up-and-comers. You had a heel turn, fatal 4-way match, fire. It was awesome. Great card. I think IWC's best of the year, actually. In at number 2, AEW's All Out. And in at number 1, NXT TakeOver 31. I think that had several match of the year candidates. If you just said, I'm taking this event and every match on here will be in my match of the year category, I couldn't argue with that.
Mine was IWC back in business. Because of what you said, John, you had Andrew Palace and Bill Collier stealing the show, and that was the first match of the night when they were at the theater before you were at the theater the month before. IWC bringing that back with, which we thought, hey, we don't know, but Palace and Collier, what a way to bring it back. And then it's funny, that's how it ends more or less at the end of the year for IWC. Jenny Plummer knows what she's doing. Justin?
Not so much.
Yeah.
Not so much. You guys are going to be shocked with this. I have no AEW, no NXT. And it's no...
You better not say Money in the Bank or I will punch you right in the head.
No. Chad, I agreed with you. The number 2 show was ROH Final Battle. There wasn't a minute that we weren't glued to the TV on that. Fans didn't need to be there. Minimum 4-star matches, 4 beer matches, as we grade to definitely, some great matches. And I'm a homer because one of my match of the years was actually part of this. And you guys have to go way back to February. NWA Hard Times was amazing. That's where you had Rosa against Allison Kay. You had, I love that. I love the NWA stuff. What?
Sorry, you just said Rosa and Allison Kay. They are wrestling in Texas
in a steel cage match.
Yep. Coming up February?
I think so.
February.
But what promotion?
No.
Who's doing that?
I did not.
I don't think it's Mission. I don't think it's Thunder. I don't think it's Rosa's promotion. It's we can post it when it gets closer. It'll be on Fight TV, I'm sure. So NWA Hard Times. I loved. NWA could have put anything together this year, and I gushed over that. And you'll hear in my prediction some of the stuff about NWA that I have to say, but I loved everything NWA was leading up to, and I still cry. I miss WrestleCade, but I legit cried when we couldn't go to Crockett Cup because of what it was going to do.
That one was just on the outside looking in for me. That was a great card. I chose All Out, though, for the same reason you chose the NWA, and that is Thunder Rosa's match with she wrestled Cheetah at All Out. Okay. That was a great match. FTR winning the tag team championship was very good. The Battle Royal, I enjoyed the Blackjack or Texas Hold'em Battle Royal, whatever the hell it was called, where they came in spurts. I love that. But that card that you mentioned was right there too. Simply because NWA is just not fresh on the mind these days.
Right.
That's the only thing. Yeah.
We're going to get to some heavy-hitting things now in these Can Crushie Awards. Let's go with best entrance before we start getting where we have to divide them, best women's match and women of the year and everything. So best entrance of the year for 2020. And you started that. Who started the last one?
Chad did.
Now you can start this one.
All right. In at number 3, This Is My Brutality, Rhea Ripley's entrance. I love the music. Everybody's got music these days. Sometimes it's hard to stand out in the crowd. You know who's coming out as soon as you hear This Is My Brutality. I just love the look she gives, the stance, like with her hands on her collar, and she like pops her collar up and then goes to the ring to beat some ass. So I love Rhea Ripley's entrance. In at number 2, Shotzi Blackheart.
Riding the tank?
Riding the tank. Love it. Yep, absolutely. Although the tank is all busted now. I don't know.
Right.
She's just been coming to the ring now, right? Because the tank got destroyed. That's a shame. The tank was great.
She got a new tank.
Yeah,
because she came down in the
okay.
Yeah, in the Survivor Series because she shot a
It's a bigger one.
tennis ball at.
That's right.
It's almost like a golf cart tank now.
Yeah,
That's right.
it's actually what it is.
Yeah, I know. But he doesn't know what a golf cart is.
I know what a golf cart is. I've seen a golf cart before. In at number 1, do you care to take a guess what my favorite?
We know what it is. I will lay the X-Droid X4 on it that it's Karrion Kross.
Absolutely. Yep. Karrion Kross and Scarlett, the best entrance in the business.
Number 3, I got to go with Sting coming back. The
winner's coming?
The winner's coming. The first when he made his first appearance. I was hoping that he would be the one go back to not talking, but now he's like a fucking outboard motor. Sting, number 3. Number 2, Undisputed Era. When their music hits, I fucking pay attention. Even if it is Johnny Gargano fucking dicking around and just having her music play. Okay. Number 1, I got to go with John on this. You just look, because you're like, okay, is she going to come out fucking stabbing somebody or, blood sacrifice or virgin sacrifice or firstborn sacrifice or whatever.
It always goes downhill.
And Karrion Kross. I mean, I'm looking, of all the people coming back, I'm looking forward to him coming back because holy shit, the dude was spot on, stiff, but he looked good. And then he got turf toe or whatever.
He ripped his... I was going to say his thyroid. I don't know where
his
that came
thyroid?
from. No. He ripped his arm out.
Wow. You got 2 of them.
Whatever. Undisputed Era is number 3 for me. I love the music. I really do. Like Chad said, when that music hits, I pay attention. Number 2, damn it, I like singing along. So Jericho's Judas. I love that. And then across the board, all 3 of us have Cross for every reason that you guys have said. So, yeah, whatever. That was just a fun little one. All right, let's go with Feud of the Year.
I knew it.
No, you didn't.
I did.
So change it.
No.
It was the last one that's not like divided between men and women.
Right.
I believe. Yeah.
Right, it is.
All right.
Go ahead.
I want to go first this time? You want me to go first? I don't care.
I'll go on this one. Number 3, you got to go with IWC versus the Sperminators or whatever.
Regulators.
Regulators. Well played. Good storyline. Involve almost everybody on the roster at one point or another. Number 2, I had to go with Adam Cole and Pat McAfee. There was shit that was on ESPN and everything covering it, and other channels outside of wrestling, I guess is what I was kind of trying to say. And then as much as I don't like McAfee, for a fucking rookie with no training, he made a damn good accounting of himself. The number one feud of the year, off the wall, I'm going to say FTR against fucking anybody. Because they elevated, including those two little fucking fourth graders, the Young Bucks. They elevated everybody. And yes, was it a real feud? I say it is, because it was them against the AEW roster.
John?
Feud of the year. In at number 3, I have for the AEW Women's Championship, Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose. I like their contrasting styles. Nyla Rose, big, strong lady with the power moves. Hikaru Shida, more of the ground game. However, Nyla Rose can also take to the ropes, as we saw. I think during one of their matches, she did a flying leg drop off the top rope while Shida was like draped across the ropes. So they have great chemistry, always put on good matches. In at number 2, I have Jock Sampson and the Regulators versus Justin Plummer and IWC in a very difficult year for the big guys. It had to be extraordinarily hard for the little guys too. And IWC did a really nice job of developing this story, giving us something new each time, giving us a big payoff. Great feud that brought in a lot of people. Believable. You believe Justin's guys of Collier, all those guys really wanted to save the promotion. Pollock and all those guys. Number 1 feud of the year, Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Birch, and Lorcan. Good stuff.
Number 3 for me is the IWC one that you guys have mentioned, without a doubt. It took the summer by storm in our area. It was great. Number 2, Mox against Kingston. 2 matches, they were unbelievable. Unbelievable. If that's a feud, it's a feud for me. I don't care. All right, guys, I'm a homer. Not really a homer.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, I'm a homer. But still, the number 1, man, I could watch Sasha and Bailey fight over a cupcake. I loved their stuff. I loved when it was just them two going at it. You saw a couple matches. Some of them were match of the year candidates. So, and it legit lasted the whole year. Even when they were friends with the tag team titles, they were still feuding. So Sasha Bailey carried it, and it's still going right now, essentially. So Sasha and Bailey for me, without a doubt.
Yep. They even touched on it again a little bit on SmackDown this past Friday in that tag team match. Absolutely. Good stuff.
They did. Most hated female. Most hated female of the year. John?
All right. So when we get to the most hated male, you'll see that I shot on these. But the most hated female is 1 kind of shoot and 2 kayfabe. But in at number 3, most hated female, Lana. I know she's not supposed to be hated. I can't stand it when she's on my TV. I still don't think she has any business in the business. That's all the time I'll waste on her. Now for the 2 legit. In at number 2, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, the tag team. They were just vicious. And as much as I couldn't stand Lana, it started to hurt my feelings the way they treated her. As much as I like Shayna Baszler, I really have a hard time watching her manipulate people's joints and laugh about it. They just have a great chemistry together because they're both so mean and so vicious. They hardly like each other. They try to outdo each other in bullying their opponents. They are legitimate heels in an era where it's kind of a lost art form. And in at number 1, sorry guys, but get those stupid Whataburger looks off your faces. Britt Baker, most hated female of the year. She does a killer promo. I try to like her because I remember the good old days. She's an awful rotten person.
This one you could go, like John said, kayfabe or shoot. There's as with the male, there's plenty that you could fill whichever fucking way you wanted to go. So I'm going to go number 3, kayfabe. I gotta agree with John. I hate to say that again, but Baszler and Nia Jax, you were just fucking worried when anybody went into the ring against them. Because like John said, the joint manipulation. Baszler she just looks like she'd beat your ass for not looking at her.
Don't forget, the beginning of this year, she bit Becky in the neck, and she was vampire.
Yeah. And then we got that shit replayed on AEW this week. So yeah, those number 3. Number 2, I got to go with Britt Baker. I say week after week when she's on, she is such a bitch, but she's so fucking good at it. And number 1, legitimately, I don't want to say personal. I obviously don't know the person, but Lana is a waste of fucking time on wrestling. When she got rid of the accent and Rusev went down, started going downhill, Lana lost her anything that she remotely had. And seeing her in the ring and then putting out, I'm not ready for this event, but I'll do what I can, and that's why she gets pulled from it. My God, pull somebody from fucking indie wrestling and put him in there. Put Jock Sampson in a fucking dress and put him in there.
Mine, Candice LeRae has been just unbelievable. She comes in at number 3 for me. Her facial expressions, just the little dastardly things she does. My God, this is really hitting me tonight. So Candice LeRae is number 3. We're all across the board. Britt at number 2. I agree. Money in the bank for real. We know her. We all know her personally. We all love the days of IWC, but we just support her wholeheartedly. We love that she's being so bad and bitchy. She's Mean Girls as a dentist, and we love it. And I spun it just like Chad did. I fucking hate Lana. Get her off TV. Get her off TV. She's supposed to be the sad sap of the WWE. Nobody cares. Not one person cares. So goodbye, Lana. Goodbye. Most hated male of the year, Chad? You can start this one. You have a list.
Yeah, this would be a fucking list longer than John's Team's Better Than the Road Warriors.
No, it's still going.
Number 3, I'm going to go Pat McAfee. He is the son of a bitch that you want to see him get his ass beat. You want to see somebody just grab a 2x4 and waffle him with it, or a fucking tennis racket, or anything. Number 2, I mean, he hasn't been around in a while. Thank God. Brock Lesnar. I've never liked anything about him. Oh, wait, I will correct myself. The match where he kicked the ever-loving shit out of John Cena for 8 minutes and Cena got no offense in years ago. That was the only thing I've ever liked that Brock Lesnar did. Number 1 most hated, and I root every week for him to get his ass kicked. Give me that. This is it. Jock Sampson, you fat bastard. I've got a cowbell for our bull rope match, and to go along with the most hated male wrestler of the year award that I'm going to shove up your ass.
Now, we can't give that away. That was a Christmas present to me.
I'll get another one.
Okay. John?
Most hated male. These guys, well, 2 of them aren't trying to be hated. This is where I just went total shoot on all three of these. In at number 3, he didn't make my manager's list because he's not a manager. And even when he was, he sucked. Paul Heyman. Chad, to your point, you're 100% correct. When I asked why he's with Roman, you said instant heat. You automatically know Roman is really a bad guy now if he has Paul Heyman with him. I don't think he needs him anymore. He adds nothing to the equation at this point. So in at number 3, Paul Heyman. In at number 2, Otis. Annoying, stupid, fat slob. I can't stand the guy. I can't stand him. Sorry.
Those are mine. Yeah.
And in at number 1, R-Truth. I've complained about this guy on here long enough. He is an absolute waste of space. I know you guys say he's got talent. I know you guys followed his career early on. None of that means anything anymore. He is a total sellout. And he is an insult to the industry every time he goes out there and does what Vince tells him to do. He hopefully he's laughing all the way to the bank. I've said it before. I just hope he's getting paid.
Well, we all took this a different way. My most hated number 3 is Kenny Omega. I can't stand, he could be, him and the Young Bucks could be looped in this for me. I don't care.
They're the type that if they were on fire, you wouldn't piss on them to help them.
Probably. Right now, my piss would make them burn even more. As much alcohol is in it, so it doesn't really matter. Number 2, and this is sad because congratulations, and he's a great wrestler, but the whole Rey Mysterio thing with Seth Rollins just destroyed him for me. He needs to come back as something different. Seth Rollins is my number 2, and to be a homer, Jock Sampson and Tom Ridge. Not Tom Ridge.
Tom Wolfe?
Tom Wolfe, yeah. Those two. Hand in hand. Hate them both.
Okay.
Hate them both. And it's not getting political or anything.
Right.
It's just wrestling related.
Yeah.
Jock Sampson's a big pile of shit. Tag Team of the Year. We didn't do that one. Tag Team of the Year. Mr. Pat Leno is going to go first.
All right. In at number 3, still winning tag team championships in 2020. Bear in mind, guys, there aren't a lot of tag teams from which to choose, but still winning championships in 2020. The New Day. In at number 2.
I thought you were going to say the Rock and Roll Express.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's where I was going.
No. In at number 2, I mentioned them amongst the most hated females. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. What a great team they were this year. Again, the similar styles, but also contrasting styles. Just two mean, rough ladies. So Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler at number 2. The very best tag team of the year, FTR.
Number 3. I got to go with the Street Profits. Kind of wondered what the fuck was going on with them. Bringing them in, pushing them, and, a lot of the fucking acrobatic shit. But they've kind of simmered down. Little bit better promos, better matches. That match against the fucking New Day at Survivor Series was fucking great to me. That was a good. It's not a Rock and Roll Express Midnight Express match, but it was a really good match. Number 2, can you really argue with Bayley and Sasha for the longest time in their reign, 2-time champions, everything. And number 1, I'm agreeing with John too much again. You got to go with no, fuck this. It's a tie. FTR and the Good Brothers. Both out of WWE, both headlining, and they're going to be in the working shoots and pay-per-views between the promotions.
Mine go number 3, the North. They've recently who've been broken up or whatever, and they're probably not going to be a tag team because Ethan Page's Impact contract is kind of up. We'll have to see what's going on with that. But
AEW.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. But the North doing a lot in Impact Wrestling. I also just love those guys. They really are two great guys. So they got to vote just for that. Number 2 for me, Money Shot. We gush over how great these guys are week in and week out. And again, on my list, the only ones with a title to end 2021, the IWC Tag Team Champions.
2020.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Not 20.
Going into 2021 is what I meant.
Right.
And you're right. If we're talking about tag team wrestling, we all think back to the Hearts, the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express, stuff like that. FTR has that wrapped up. This was a gimme for all of us. I knew it, but I want to see everybody else's 2 and 3, more or less, because we love FTR. Everything you guys said, I agree with it. So, yeah. All right. Do we want to do... Let's do male's match of the year first. Male match of the year.
I got to get the name right on here. Coming in at number 3 off the ROH Final Battle pay-per-view, Dragon Lee and Tony Deppen for the TV championship. A lot of people know Dragon Lee, had no fucking clue who Tony Deppen was. This match put him on... it's his breakout match.
Yeah.
I really wish, as everybody does, that this Corona shit wasn't going on the wrestling side. I think if this wasn't, this match would have seriously gotten a ton of fucking reviews, raves, and everything. Number 2, I want to go with the Survivor Series match with Keith Lee, the brand versus brand match. I'm just a Keith Lee fan. I thought that they played that match well with the domination, and easily the match of the year for me was, again, going to the ROH pay-per-view for the Pure Championship, Jonathan Gresham against Flip Gordon.
Nice.
You just do not, in any era, get better than that match. That match is on par with Flair Steamboat, with Savage Steamboat, Rock and Roll Midnight, anything.
John?
You know, it's interesting you mentioned exactly those 3 comparisons from our youth, Chad, because those are the exact 3 comparisons I had for my number 1, and I'll get to number 1 here in a second. But in at number 3, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston, AEW Full Gear I Quit match. Brutal, violent, and Eddie Kingston is choking on his own blood when he quits. In at number 2, from AEW's All Out for the World Tag Team Championship, FTR defeats Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page. Great tag team match. I know none of us are huge Omega fans, but that was a fine tag team match, maybe the best tag team match of the year. In at number 1, this, in my opinion, and I think I've watched a lot of wrestling, this isn't just the best match of 2020 that I saw, it's the best match I have ever seen. NXT's TakeOver 31 main event, Finn Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly. I did not know Kyle O'Reilly had that in him. That match was superb.
In at number 3 for me is the parking lot brawl between the Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz. Pure entertainment. And whatever, the match was, I sat down and it legit entertained me. So I took that one there. I remembered that throughout the year without anything. Great match. In at number 2 was the 4-way match between Finn, Adam Cole, Ciampa, and Gargano, where Cole gets the the last-second pin to make another match later. But yes, that was awesome.
That was fantastic. Yes, good one.
Good one. And John, we're on the same page. We really are on the same page. Finn against O'Reilly was Cody against Dustin. It was just an unbelievable match this year with legit injuries, and they kept going. And we're going to get part 2 of this. And I cannot wait. This match, like John said, is definitely one that's on the all-time list, without a doubt.
If you can trim the fat, let's say, in between spots or in between things, that's when matches get really, really good. That's when they have the potential to be great. Is if you can kill all that sort of dead air in between and really make everything have a purpose. And everything those two guys did in that match had a purpose.
Yeah. Female match of the year. And we'll go with John first.
All right. In at number 3, I think this was just on a couple of weeks ago, Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley. I was expecting good things. I got great things. And I'm expecting great things out of Toni Storm in 2021. In at number 2, this was one of the feuds of the year for me. But from AEW's All Out, Hikaru Shida and Nyla Rose, for all the reasons I mentioned earlier. And then the best match between two women, Hell in a Cell, Sasha Banks and Bayley. They can tear the house down. Mark, you said you'd watch them fight over a cupcake or a cookie or whatever. Absolutely. They used the cage in new and innovative ways. When certain things didn't present themselves, they improvised because they're just that damn good. This was another match for the ages. Absolutely.
Chad?
Coming in at number 3 is the Women's Survivor Series match. I thought everybody played their role well. I thought there was some good high spots. There was a little bit more of the weapon shit that we needed, but everybody...
You mean the War Games match?
War Games.
Not Survivor Series.
I keep saying Survivor Series. War Games match. My bad. Coming in at number 2, Sheeta and Rose.
Thunder Rosa?
No.
Nyla Rose.
Nyla Rose.
Okay.
God damn it. You need to drink more.
This is number 2.
It was a well put together match. Nyla Rose isn't quite there yet as far as ring technique, but it didn't show in this match too much, if at all. The number 1 match, was there anything better than, oh God, I'm going to gag when I say this, Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania?
If you're asking me, yes, I have a list.
I don't think there was any match better than those two at WrestleMania.
Well, I'll give you the list then.
Well,
number 3 is Io, Flair, and Ripley in Your House. I enjoyed that. When Flair went down to NXT for that little bit of time, her and Ripley kind of still continued their feud from WrestleMania, but you threw Io in it. I like Io. I think she's great. I'm just not a huge fan, but it added a little bit more. Number 2, I go back. It's Thunder Rosa and Allison Kay. Man, that Hard Times pay-per-view, we gushed in February about it. We loved it. We can't wait to see what they're going to do in a steel cage. You know how high I'm on Thunder Rosa. You know how much John loves Allison. But I have to agree, and you guys knew it was going to come. Sasha and Bayley in a steel cage, in a Hell in a Cell, was unbelievable for me. I loved every minute of it. And, yeah, it sparked so much that I'm still waiting for their 60-minute Iron Man match again like they had in NXT. But I don't think they can do that one without fans. And I'll still say it, they can't do it without fans. All right, now guys, I want to hear. We're going to start with male wrestler of the year. All right, we're going to start male. We're going to give female the props, our main event, if you say, for 2020. But I want to know, before you tell me your list, what made you select these guys? What were your stipulations, qualifications to get these three gentlemen on your list? So, John.
For me, one of them had to do with, I guess maybe longevity is not the right term because it was only 1 year, but someone that we saw a lot. We saw them over and over again in big moments. And then this is going to give it away, but the other two I chose strictly on a match they had.
All right, go ahead.
So with that, in at number 3 is Jon Moxley. He was AEW World Champion. It got to a point where you thought, who is going to beat this guy? I can see him losing to his next opponent. I can see him running with the belt for over a year. He had a lot of good matches this year, and my opinion, carried that brand when it needed somebody to carry it. In at number 2, again, Kyle O'Reilly showed me something. I knew he was good. I knew he was talented. Kind of lost in the shuffle there in NXT, but what a breakout star. And in at number 1, I don't think there's anybody better than Finn Balor. Again, for the reasons I stated earlier, what makes somebody great, the facial expressions, the body language, aside from the athleticism and all the amazing stuff he can do, doing it with a purpose, cutting out the dead space, nobody does it better.
Okay, reasons that I chose these three. One was a breakout star that's left his mark. Another improved every aspect of his game, so to speak. And the other one, not really anybody better in promos. Gave the fans what they wanted in their matches. Stuff was, for 99% of the time, believable with him. So it was where you could, Drew McIntyre against the fucking Miz. Oh, I wonder who's going to win this one. No, his matches never were like that, no matter who he faced. So, with that, coming in at number 3, the breakout, Keith Lee. I know John's not a huge fan of him, but, man, if he just gets that, he has to get that Roman Reigns white dickhead heat.
He needs to be bad.
He needs to be a bad guy, because I'd legitimately, if that son of a bitch was walking down the aisle and he was a prick, I'd legitimately be like, okay, I'm just going to shut the fuck up till he gets by.
And that's hard to say.
Yeah, especially these days, because he's just a big, mean-looking son of a bitch.
No, I meant with you, but okay.
Number 2, I got to go with Drew McIntyre. He's kind of been the default whipping boy because there hasn't been fans, and I think that really, really hurt him with Brock Lesnar. But his matches against Orton, his promos have gotten better. I just think he's improved in every aspect of his career, of his game, so to speak. And number 1, you got to go with Moxley. You knew coming down, whenever somebody beat him, it was going to be a screw job. It was going to have to be something different than, ooh, Tully tripped me, or, the Young Bucks hit him in the ankle with a super kick or from the outside or something. But Moxley, whether it was Kingston, whether it was Archer, whether it was, one of my favorite matches of his was against Brian Cage. I didn't really think it would be believable for Brian Cage to tap out. But Moxley made it look so good. And yeah, they threw in the towel. They played on old Tully Blanchard Magnum TA I Quit angle. But Moxley just delivered on every aspect. And I really hope he comes back soon.
I echo that. I hope he comes back. Number 3 for me, big time, Big Collier. Bill Collier. Yes, Andrew Palace won the title at the end of the year, but Collier was the cog of IWC. We preach this time in and time out of how he needs to be on AEW or Impact, or he needs to be on a big brand. He has done so much in IWC. He's been in more than Palace. He's been in more of those feuds. He's been in more of those big spots. Oh. Okay, mine were, my specifications and qualifications were...
Yeah, way to screw the pooch on that one.
Big spots or reigns or memorable moments. I'll put it that way, okay? So, Bill Collier, very memorable for IWC in 2020. I was on the fence about number 2. Have it be Drew McIntyre, their de facto champion for the whole year. But I remember for WWE more Randy Orton things, because Randy Orton doesn't need a title. Yes, he had the title for a while, and it's a nonsense title run that he had. I'll throw that out there. But we make fun of the Edge match that he had at WrestleMania, but people are going to remember that. The Bray Wyatt stuff, he's very memorable in WWE this year. I think he's carried the torch more so in the WWE than Roman, Bray, Drew, than anybody. So he's like the WWE superstar of the year. And you both mentioned everything. There's nothing more to say about Moxley. His reign was just unbelievable. That's why he got last year, 2020 PWI Wrestler of the Year, and he's going to be up there again for 2021 because the voting is taking place now. So, all of that. Female of the Year, before we get to our predictions for 2021. So, Female of the Year, and Chad, it's your turn to go first.
Number 3 and number 2 are really hard for me. But I'll just flip an imaginary coin and go with Katie Arquette as number 3. Didn't give up, got screwed over, had people turn on her, but she still got the title back. Shows a lot about her perseverance, her skills. Just don't give up. Number 2, Bayley. Just dominated everybody, up until the predictable title change with Sasha. And number 1, Shida, AEW Women's Champ. There wasn't anybody that she didn't have a good match with, from Bliss 2.0 to what the hell is her name?
Who the hell is Bliss 2.0?
The ditzy blonde that's with Miro and Kip Sabian.
Oh, Penelope.
Yeah, Bliss 2.0. From somebody like her to Nyla Rose to Britt Baker. She just showed how complete she is, and her mic skills are really good. Her facials, really good. Her moves, again, not picking on the women when I say this, but she hits like a guy. She doesn't hit from 20 feet away and got to fake it. She's up and personal, and it looks like, holy fuck, that has to hurt. So, John, that's mine.
Just very quickly about Jon Moxley. It's interesting. Some of the names we had in there were great athletes. And dare I say, not to knock the guy, but Moxley was probably, he was 3rd for me. He was 1 for you guys. Last on our entire list as far as athleticism goes.
For sure.
But he's such a good professional wrestler. a professional wrestler that his name gets thrown in there among the best, and rightfully so. Female wrestlers of the year, similar to with the is a breakout star for me, Rhea Ripley. I think 2020 was really her breakout year, and I'm expecting great things from her in 2021. Again, whether it's Gonzalez, Martinez, Toni Storm, always has a good match, and I look forward to her stories with all those ladies. These next two are very close for me, but in at number 2 is Sasha Banks. She's incredible, guys. She is just a phenomenal athlete, great worker, has a good match with whomever her opponent may be. But just edging her out at number 1 is Io Shirai. I think she is just the perfect women's wrestler. She's an amazing athlete. What else can you say about her? I think she's the very best out there.
If you guys listen to Can Crushers, you know that, like, wrestling for me has, continued to be good, and I love wrestling and everything, but the women's evolution is where I'm at. It really is. This was the hardest category for me. So I really sat down and I'm like, man, I'm going to leave some big names off because I look at so many things for the women because they're doing so many things. So I'm going to throw my own rule out the window, and I will agree with Chad about Katie Arquette. Raylan has traveled everywhere possible. She's done some great things. The list can go on and on for me. But number 3, Thunder Rosa. What she's doing for women's wrestling, being the NWA champion at the time, crossing over to AEW, having that match with AK, still bouncing around, starting Mission back up. Unbelievable. Number 2, Sheeta, just for what Chad said, really, she's unbelievable. I'm going to say unbelievable a million times in this category. I really am. Hard-hitting matches with Nyla and Rosa, and then Deeb, and, even this mixing it up with Ivelisse and Diamante. I love her. I really do. And number 1, it's a tie. I can't separate these two. I cannot. Bayley for the longest reign, and Sasha because she's unbelievable. I don't know who to pick between these two because legit, these two are what's keeping me watching wrestling sometimes. WWE is just lackluster, but Bayley, she might not be the greatest in ring, but her promos are unbelievable. She can talk a mean talk, and she's fun. Sasha's got the moves together. They just gel so well. So I have a tie. I really do. I can't separate those two. I love women's wrestling. I would rather watch a 2-hour women's wrestling show on Monday night than Raw. And I wish they would listen to their fans, because as much as my wife hates Alexa Bliss, you could throw Mandy Rose. I'd love the women to get their damn spot. It's time for them to have their own show. Shimmer and Rise and all those guys, no disrespect to them, they just don't have the funding. Sonya Deville's coming back in time. Tell me she's not going to be a force to reckon with. And I'm forgetting ones in not in AEW, in Impact. She used to be Emma. She's Tennille Dashwood right now. Deonna Purrazzo, John, unbelievable. And this is sad to say, Tessa won the fucking Impact Championship this year, and she's got baggage, and we didn't even talk about her And I would say the three of us think, brass tacks, she's probably one of the best out there.
It's not easy to win a Crushie. It isn't. We pick the best of the best.
It's because maybe, there just wasn't enough. And Kylie Rae should be on this list as well, but she stepped away, and she'll come back. And it's hard. It's hard, and that's why this was the hardest one for me. And Sasha and Bayley carried the torch for the year for the women.
And to that point, Mark, you need a good dance partner, right?
You do.
See Bailey's great and Sasha's great. Together, they're magic. They're special. You need a good dance partner. And to both your points about Hikaru Shida, I don't know if you can see my notebook here, but legitimately I had her on the outside looking in. If you could see that's crossed out there. I had 4 names. I narrowed it down to the 3 I had. Ripley, Banks, Shirai. I had Shida on there. And I said, one of them's got to go, and it was Shida.
And I'll let Chad talk here in a minute. And we all talk about how much we love Dakota Kai.
Yes.
Didn't even get mentioned until right now.
Yep.
It's unbelievable. Tell me all that the women essentially carried 2020. I could have done without, no disrespect, Drew McIntyre and Bob. Or Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan. You throw some women's matches on, and it's not because we ogle over them. You're just fucking great athletes.
The stories are good. Yeah, I'm with you.
The one thing I like about, and I'll wholeheartedly agree with you, if you're talking memorable moments across the board, it's the females this year. Whether you like them or hate them, whether kayfabe like them or hate them or not, the bottom line is they really, I don't want to say stepped up their game. They were exposed in a good way more than they have in the past. And as when we do our predictions for 21, I think we're going to see a lot more from them. I'm hoping that they get their own show, whether it's an hour or 2. I'd be happy with an hour.
Right.
But give them their own show. You have 7 hours of WWE programming that the females are not featured in. Give them their own show. I see enough of Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens. I see enough of the fucking Usos and the New Day and stuff like that. Get these women wrestlers up there. As much as Bayley looks awkward being a bitch,
she's loving it right now.
Get her up there. Get Sasha in there. Get the other ones in there. Was it Liv Morgan? I seen it'll be a year, and I guess February in State College. Let her show that she can wrestle and she's not just eye candy. Let them do that.
Let's take a quick break. We'll do our predictions and then wrap up the year in review, more or less with our to-dos, everybody that passed in the third segment. Essentially, guys, I need another drink, so that's why I'm going to pause these two right now. Get another drink. Here comes a quick promo. We'll be back with predictions. Love them while we got them, and our tribute to everybody that's passed away.
Hey, everybody, this is Gilbert, WWF's longest reigning light heavyweight champion. And you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast. The best guys there are out there.
And welcome back, Can Crusher Nations. It is the Fireball Flamer, the Glorious Guru.
What the fuck is a Fireball flame?
Fireball. Oh. Fireball is flame.
Oh, after
what
last
the
week.
hell's wrong with you?
Drinking.
We got the mentally incapacitated host, Mark the Mark, and John the Professor, who's wondering what the fuck he's doing with both of us.
This is why I love the show, because listen to last year's. I get ripped during this show because I enjoy it. Ripped. No work tomorrow. Thank God.
Yeah, no work tomorrow for me either.
You're retired.
Oh.
You're a vet. I'm sorry, that's ignorant.
You were going to say I was a bitch and a fucker. That's fine.
What do you have before we go on to predictions for 2021?
Okay, so just a little project I talked with Mark about I thought would be cool for us to do and would be something we could do over a time period. So I just got an email from a Saudi prince saying he wants to give me $50 billion. So I bought WWE.
Can you help me buy a new furnace first?
I'll help you buy a furnace. That was the second thing. So I bought WWE. So John, Mark, and I, because I've hired you two jabronis, we're going to run WWE. So our project is to, in different groups, like hire, fire, sign talent, booking, whatever, we're going to run WWE. And how are we going to do it? We're not allowed to discuss it with each other. The only thing that's going to be the same is each week we're going to be on the same page as to what section we're going to take care of.
And we're going to start this next week.
We're going to start it next week.
And what section are we starting with, mister?
We will start with hiring, firing, in management or whatever positions. Non-talent related hiring, firing. And, of course, you're not going to go, okay, here's the WWE employees. We're going to fire,
Pat Buck.
Yeah, or Tommy Young or,
Tommy Young is with the WWE.
Or whoever that's been there.
Mike Chioda?
Whoever, Al Snow or, whoever.
This is going to be a horrible segment, but let's do it.
Anyway, it'll work. We'll kind of iron it out within the next couple of days.
I'm sure we will. I'm sure we'll iron everything out.
Oh, we will.
It'll be just like this next week.
No, it'll be better. I know. I have faith in John at least. You, I'm not so sure about, unless you write shit down.
What?
And then, okay, the second thing on a little bit of a, I want to say a touching note, a feel-good moment. After AEW Dynamite for the Christmas show, we didn't know this, we crowned a new AEW World Champion. Brodie Lee's son, oldest son, Brodie Jr., beat Kenny Omega for the AEW World title. He will be recognized as an AEW champion, world champion. How this came about is Brodie Lee was at the taping with his son and family, and it was known that he probably wasn't going to make it long. This is being reported by reputable sources.
If you want to mention them, go ahead.
Exposed Turnbuckle on Reddit, and it's been confirmed from some others as I'm going through the comments. But they did this for Brodie Lee because he was not doing good. They didn't expect him to be around long. So that's the first little bit. But what happened is the Young Bucks and Twinkle Toes McFingerfuck came out and offered Brodie Lee's son a spot in Elite. That caused the Dork Order to hit the ring. Brawl broke out. Ended in Omega challenging Brodie Lee's son, Brodie Lee Jr., to a match. And Brodie Lee's son, they had from what I'm reading, they had a pretty good about 15-minute match, and he made Omega tap out.
That's amazing. That hits me in all the feels right now as a dad.
Breaking things are coming out in that, but that's pretty fucking cool to give his dad that moment with his son before he passed away. Well, hit the other segment, the
let's
wrestlers we've lost in a.
Wow. Yeah, we'll talk about wrestlers lost here in a minute, but guys, it was always one of my favorite things to grab the year-end review from PWI and read predictions for 97, 87, 90, all these random years, in chronological order, of course. But, so we're jumping on the bandwagon. I don't care how many you guys have. We got some in. I didn't write them down. I apologize. There's a list of them out there on the internet, but we can just banter for a while. We really can banter for a little bit and leave this go because these are fun. We can come back and listen to this and rewrite them down. Like the English professor, that sounds like a great job for you to see if they happen in 2021. You don't have to write them down right now. You can come back in a week or two or whatever and just fast forward and get to this section. But let's throw out some just bold, random predictions.
Well, first of all, I would just want to say that if we're going to document what people say and see if they come true, I just want to say that one of my predictions from last year came true. And that was, you can argue all you want about COVID-19 and shutting things down, Nick Aldis would hold the NWA championship throughout the entire calendar year. I was right about that.
That's such a dick move, but you were right.
That's a good. We'll see if you actually had one because John Satanist reminded me of one that I said, and John actually brought it up earlier in the broadcast.
Do you think I remember what I said a year ago?
You don't even fucking remember what you said an hour ago, let alone a year ago.
Do you have to piss?
Not yet.
You're shaking like you have to.
I'm just in one of those moods.
All right, so we're jumping right in. Chad Zard, boom. I'd like to go back. John, can I make you have a project for next week's show? We won't cover a pay-per-view, so to speak. Will you go back? Because I'll be so busy with this new gaming system that I don't know what I'm going to do. Will you go back and listen to last year's Crushies? I know we touched on some of them, but we didn't do a lot of predictions. Unlike this year, we're going to do a lot.
Right. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
And make fun of me.
Okay.
Oh, that's easy enough.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm the host. And the only reason why I'm the host is because I have the technological equipment to do this. More or less, right?
That's about it, yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I think Al Snow would even fire you.
Oh, stop it. Damn it. Don't give him any thoughts. All right. Who wants to start?
I'll jump in with one.
Okay.
I have three bold predictions.
One at a time, by the way.
One at a time, yeah. I say the NWA closes its doors, but somebody else comes along, buys it, and it reopens under new ownership.
All right, well, now that that's been out, that was I don't have them 1, 2, or 3, but that was also on my list. I said NWA will officially fold with the hopes, and I'm not saying in 2021 of somebody buying it, but I said they will fold. And the downfall is Nick Aldis will be the last champion for a while. It might go into NWA East, South, West again, and I don't like that, but yeah, NWA is done. Chad, wait, before you jump on any of your predictions, that's what we're talking about right now. Do you think the NWA is done?
As a standalone promotion, yes. They're champions and wrestlers. No. It's going to be the Ring of Honor, or not Ring of Honor. It's going to be the AEW working with them, working with Impact, possibly working with Ring of Honor. I believe the ownership is going to change to a degree, but I don't think Corrigan is going to absolutely can his ownership.
All right, let me ask, because this is where I want to stay with this for a minute. So, Aldis is champ, Deeb's champ. who the hell, there's no tag champs because they're both elsewhere, and Murdoch is the national champ. And as Zicky Dice is still TV champ? No. Somebody is.
Murdoch.
No, Murdoch's the national champ. He beat Aaron Stevens.
Zicky Dice lost it.
Okay, whatever. So we have those. This Nick Aldis coming to AEW defending the NWA Championship. I know we're going to go to the territory days. I know that's exactly where we're going to go, but is it the NWA Championship then? Is the national championship? And no disrespect to Rosa or Deeb or anybody, but once that came to AEW and they're using it there, it wasn't the same as Rosa defending against Marty Bell, AK, Alicia Waters, or whatever the hell her name was. It wasn't that same thing. They're all secondary until, AEW's number one women's championship is Shida. And then you have the NWA, which is the U.S. championship, more or less, for the women. Does it lose prestige?
Yes, it does. And I don't think we're going to see anything like the Crockett days here where he starts to take over Georgia and Watts and bring all those belts in, and you had a pay-per-view with 20 belts on it. I don't think any promotion that works with the NWA is going to go that route. Wherever they go, they're going to play second fiddle. I don't know why I feel that, but I do. I think, like you said, Mark Thunder Rose is kind of playing, or she was playing second fiddle as the NWA Women's Champion. But there still was, for some reason, a level of respectability. I don't see Nick Aldis being able to play second fiddle. The guy really believes in the NWA Championship. He's put his heart and soul into that promotion. I see him working with other promotions. This is rough, man. I hear myself, and I know I'm kind of in circles here because I don't know which way this goes. I really don't. They've been on hiatus for way too long. So, like, when they work with other promotions, like they have, they were still a functioning unit. They were still in business. I guess what I'm saying is to come back after having not been in business for so long, yeah, you're absolutely going to play second fiddle. I think maybe Thunder Rosa came along early enough. Do you know what I mean? Now the year's over. Now there's like a permanence to it. She came along early enough where you still respected her as champion. Nick Aldis hasn't been seen in close to a year.
I think this is, if they couldn't stand alone at this point and be their own promotion like they were when, at the beginning of the year.
But why?
Because they've the talent is, a lot of the talent has gone elsewhere. And I agree with you guys when you say they've been kind of playing second fiddle in AEW, but what I honestly see happening is, and this will be in one of my predictions, bold predictions, Dustin Rhodes, more importantly, Cody, the NWA lineage that they had with their father and everything, that is going to come into play. I think the titles are going to end up being merged. And I think the NWA by name is going to replace AEW World Title. They're gonna come up with something new. I don't see Tony Khan or anybody shitting on the NWA if given the opportunity, because they can attach themselves, for good or bad, they can attach themselves to the history of that.
Okay. All right, I'm going to throw one out, and it's an easy one. It's softball for you guys. Britt Baker will be AEW champion by the end of the year.
All right. I can see that. I'll throw one out there. And
Wait, John doesn't get to talk about it?
Oh, go ahead, John. Sorry.
In 2021, Britt Baker's AEW Women's Champion. I will disagree for the sake of disagreement.
But what's your heart say, you douchebag?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. She's talented. I think she'll continue to hone her craft.
Do you think? All right, let me ask you this, since you're gonna, and then, yeah, he used to be a dick. I agree, and not agree with us. Right, I agree with all that you're writing down, Chad. But do you think it's because at this point right now, Britt doesn't need a title because she's that much of a bitch, and she's over enough?
That's 30% of it, 35% of it. The other 65 to 70%, I love her. She's improved. It can't hurt to get her a little bit more work.
Okay.
I think one more year of working hard. I think in 2022 she's a champion.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with John, not with John on this one, with Mark on this one. I think Britt's going to get the title. I think it doesn't have to be a long reign. Obviously, I don't want to see it be a fucking week reign or 2-week reign, but and this is meant with all my heart, and like you guys said, we love her. We've seen what she can do. Britt is getting into the Dusty Rhodes' NWA champion territory right now. She doesn't need the belt, but if you want to keep her any semblance of relevant, you have to put the title on her for
a month,
I'd say a couple of months.
Whatever.
I'd say 2 to 3 month reign she needs to have
against nobodies, and then lose it when she has a big battle again.
Yeah.
Right. Yep. That's yes.
But okay, we'll see, guys.
Okay. All right. Well, you got one. Settle down. I know you have a list, but one at a time.
I just threw a bunch of them. I got my off-the-wall fucking predictions, and then I got ones that are believable. So I'm going to go with the off-the-fucking-wall one. First one, Moxley's baby is going to be born healthy in a back parking lot and on film.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Quite a bit. That's a fair question, too. But it's going to be, the birth of the baby is just going to be like one of Moxley's promos, either outside the
Are you from like Lake City like right now, or what the hell is wrong with you?
Quite a bit.
Yeah. I have nothing to say to that.
I'm stunned. I think he loves the business, not enough to air the birth of his child on TV, though.
Poor Renee.
Yeah.
She's a sweet. All right.
Well, it's not like he's going to be fucking sitting there in a catcher position with the mitt saying squeeze it out.
John, please go.
Okay. Second one I have. This is big. AEW takes a huge name from the WWE, namely Seth Rollins.
Do you know about his contract or anything?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't bother to inform myself on that sort of stuff. I just make the bold predictions.
Okay. Wow, that's huge. That's unbelievable. I
could definitely see that.
That's a big one. I honestly think if Seth could come over to AEW, drop the Messiah and be Tyler Black, or, because he's not going to be Seth Rollins. Let's come to that. He's not going to be Seth Rollins. Tyler Black or somebody like that, switch it up. Man, that's a huge, huge thing. Did your son help you with that one?
No, I came up with these myself.
That's unbelievable. I'd be all for it. I really would. Because he's a great worker. As much as he was hated this year, and I threw him on the list because of the Mysterio thing, like that brought his whole... To me, I looked at some of it money-wise too. I thought that was garbage for him. And nothing against Ray. A lot to do with his family. But nothing against Ray. I just thought it was a shoddy storyline. And I thought Seth took the blunt of it, and it hurt. So, if he can jump ship, yeah. With anybody.
With Moxley, if he shows up?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd like that. You want me to go?
Oh,
yeah, because you just wait. Yeah. Mine's kind of ruined now from what you mentioned at the beginning of the segment, but it could get back. Hangman beats Omega for the title, but only after Omega wins the TNA championship. Because there's going to be a lot going on with the Impact or TNA or whatever the hell we're calling it nowadays. I think Hangman's the one that takes it off of Omega. But we have to talk about what Chad just mentioned. Is this just a ceremony? I mean, I guess we're going to have to wait and see if this is just a ceremonial thing, and then Omega requests a match again in the parking lot and rolls up Brodie Lee's son.
No, this is not actually going to be.
Are they going to have him come out Wednesday night and say this is what happened?
I would love to see that, but from what I'm seeing, this was just something.
A ceremonial one.
A ceremonial that.
So Omega's now going to have it back because he won it back in Puerto Rico right after Pat Patterson's match.
Yeah.
So my prediction of Omega Hangman taking it from Omega at some point, but Omega's going to have another title as well. Not the AAA Rated X Superstar held by John Cena in the 24/7. No, he's going to win like it from Moose or whatever the champion is right now in TNA.
Moose. No, Moose is a TNA champion.
Whatever.
The Impact champion is Rich Swann.
What do you guys think of that?
I can see that happening. No, I can see that happening with Hangman. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody for Omega to lose the title to than Page. He hasn't been developed with anybody. Now, if they sign somebody fucking huge, whether it be John's prediction of Seth Rollins or, God, I would like to see AJ Styles go there or something like that. Different story, but I see Page winning it, but not till mid-year.
It says 2021, Chad.
I'm just getting more specific.
Fucking January 3rd.
It'll actually be the 6th.
What nonsense do you have coming up right now?
This is one that I would like to see. I think with his health and the way he's looked and reports, I think Vince is going to hand over more of control.
More of control? What's that mean?
He's not going to be the go-to stupid shit, entertain me person. He's going to, I think their product is going to improve. So it's going to have to go to something towards what NXT. Who he hands it over to? Triple H, Stephanie, bring Shane back in. I don't know. One of the Jarretts.
I have a piggyback for this one, but I'll let John go. John, what do you think of Chad's first? Because I have a piggyback to this first.
No, I was just going to say I don't think Shane's got less business being around the business than Stephanie does.
Mine was that Shane McMahon wins the title this year.
Oh, God. I hope not.
And then rolls over when Vince wants to retire. I'm telling you, we've seen it built up over 5 years or so. He comes back for a spot. He comes back for this. He comes back for that. I think 2021, it's a bold.
It is bold.
A title.
Yeah.
And as much as you're a fan of R-Truth, it could be that one. But it also could be anything. I'm just saying he wins a title this year.
I hope not. I thought he and The Miz as a tag team were a joke. I don't care how legitimately tough he is. I don't care that he works out and hits the bag and does martial arts. To me, he's not believable as someone who can compete. What do they have, 150 wrestlers on the roster? And you're going to tell me Shane McMahon's in the top 5? He's a title holder? I hope not.
Do you have another one?
I have one more. After consistently low ratings, USA drops Monday Night Raw in 2021.
We touched on that last week. We really did. We touched on it last week that if they don't get not TNA, but the brutality of CSI or NCIS or whatever, they have enough. Last one for the year, air quotes, comedy shows, and that's what Raw is turning out to be. A comedy show anymore. They have enough of those with the Chris Lees and Miz and me and you and Chad and Swan Dog doing stuff together. I mean, they want something that has some girth to it. Yeah. And that's something
that girth to it. Okay.
I thought that, that's a good word, right? I thought we would never hear that in our lifetimes because at one point it was the number one thing on USA.
Yeah.
I do not think that they will totally drop them. I think what they're going to do, and I'm going to throw a timeline out there, they're going to give WWE until end of February to get the fucking ratings up. They're going to say, get them up to this point, or we're going to fucking drop you. And I think it's going to force WWE to bring in a better week-to-week product than once a month good ratings, and then the other 3, suck a basketball through a fucking garden hose.
Just cut an hour and look at SmackDown. It was a good show. Just do that. Give us some good matches. Tell us a couple of good, quick stories, and that's it.
All right, you're allowed one more, and then we're gonna go to our tribute.
Okay. Oh, fuck, you're gonna make me.
Because you have some off the wall stuff.
The rest of them are pretty. I think the best one, and I can see this already happening. I think Dustin and Cody Rhodes finally turned heel. And it comes back to an offshoot of Dustin's, I don't want to say Stardust character because they can't use that, but it's going to come off, they're going to come off as some evil faction versus we're signing everybody, including the fucking bathroom attendant, to the Nightmare Collection shit.
Well, they signed Shorty Lee, so yeah. We talked about Brodie Lee at the beginning of the show. His passing yesterday, whatever we're doing shoot-wise. If they're going to stay with the Dark Order, they've both been talked to the Dark Order. 7 or however the hell you want to. I think it would be not in right taste for them to join them now. Maybe let them kind of linger around for a while. I know at the beginning of the show I said possibly this could be the end of the Dark Order, just for that. But if they let them linger and maybe sit in the back or something for a while, and then Cody and Dustin are just on horrible losing streaks. And I don't know if you're going to get it from Cody as much as Dustin at first. And you'll just see maybe they need more help with John Silver or Alan Angels or Uno or somebody, Ken, whoever the fuck he is. I think that would be right for the Dark Order to grab those two and be the evil ministry, more or less. I could get behind that. I really could. But I don't know. Not the Nightmare Club, because that's god-awful.
I agree with that. The only thing I'll add is it hasn't been teased with Dustin or Cody, but it almost seems like the door's been left open for that. Every week, every other week, maybe not every week, but every so often they give us a little something where you think the door has been left open for that. Like Cody not listening to Arn Anderson, Dustin turning down the Dark Order, but where's that going? You know what I'm saying? So the door's been open for that exactly.
So those are good predictions, guys. Those really are. We could. How about, I'm going to throw this out, and this should be written down as well. We do the year in review a week earlier, and then we do a whole prediction the final week of 2021. Because we could go on and on about random things, what could happen in 2021, and we've predicted a lot of stuff week by week here on Can Crushers that they listen to, especially on AEW. It's like, oh my God, Mark, John, and Chad are really good. We should steal some of their shit. So maybe we should lead them all down the path for 2022 at the end of this year. So that.
Yeah, and documenting it will be proof then that they steal our shit.
Yeah. So that's what we're going to do next year. We'll do one thing a week ahead of time and then just a predictions thing. Chad, it is now your time. Oh, wait. We have one more because I have my love them while we got them. John? Yeah, go ahead. Bring it to us, John.
All right, love them while we have them. Boy. Obviously, we've been talking about Brodie Lee quite a bit. What a shock that was. And we've lost some wrestlers this year. We're going to talk about that in just a second. But the idea behind this was to celebrate these wrestlers while we still have them with us. So on that note, Mark has a name he's brought to us for this week. We've had some softballs where it was very easy to talk nicely about someone. And then we had Chad, who brought us New Jack last week, and that was really, really tough. So, Mark, who's your name for this week?
Marty Jannetty.
Marty Jannetty. Who wants to go first?
Well, it's one of you two.
I'll say it. He was one of the best supporting actors, as I like to say, in a tag team with a big mouth, as in Shawn Michaels. To me, Marty Jannetty, before Shawn Michaels, got the whole big fucking run and the click and all that bullshit, to me, Marty Jannetty was the more talented one. From the days in AWA, watching her matches with Doug Summers and Buddy Rose, Marty was the more talented but quiet one. I don't think these teams were, when I say this, were even close to each other, but Marty Jannetty was kind of like Robert Gibson to Ricky Morton.
I won't get into the whole thing again about when Mark and I met him and the condition he was in. But I mention that because I think, for the most part, his heart is in the right place. I think he's had some demons, but talent-wise, unbelievably talented. Very talented in the ring. We actually had an opportunity to sit down and have a drink with him the night before the meet and greet. He's a really cool dude. He really is. Hopefully he's tackled those demons because, again, I think his heart's in the right place. I think he's a good guy. Just, drugs are bad, guys. They're not good for you. And he is a case in point. But great in the ring and seems like a good guy. hopefully he's gotten things in order.
Tag team specialist, but as Chad said, supporting role. Never the star, never a mouthpiece, but you need him to take a beating, he does his job. You need him to be the high energy, he can be high energy. He can be there when you need him, with the caveat that his heart's in the right place. And I'll leave it at that. So, John?
Cheers to being here, Marty Jannetty.
Cheers to being here, Marty Jannetty. And we will end the weekly show, because we do have... Guys, I will spoil our upcoming spotlight. And this is one I've been saving for a long time for a Can Crusher spotlight. It is with the vicious Vicky. Guys, if you want to hear of a comeback story, you want to hear about somebody that was on the streets, you want to hear about, honestly, somebody that should be dead right now. Vicky talks about everything in her life that led her to professional wrestling, and she is very candid, she is very open with, she should be dead. The demons in her closet and everything, and how she's changed her life. And if you can take one thing from this spotlight coming up this Wednesday, it would mean a lot to her to change your life. If you have demons and you love the Can Crushers, if you have skeletons in your closet or anything like that, this is one you should really listen to, because, like I said, she's humble. She releases it all. We talked for a while before we hit the record button, and I said, listen, I don't know how far you want to get into this or anything. Guys, she's had a WWE tryout. She's been on independent shows. She's been on NXT. She's been there. But she's also been to the bottom of the barrel. So what better way to end a fucking miserable year by climbing back to the top? And Vicious Vicky, her spotlight coming out this Wednesday is something to listen to. She's unbelievable. She really is. She's a great human being, and she wants to help, and she started a new business that she announces all that on the show, and she could help change your life. She really could if you're in a bad place. Chad, it's now time to end the show, and we'll talk about everybody that's passed this year, raise our glasses to them, because 2020, in wrestling terms, has been...
It sucked.
Yeah.
That's a nice way you could put it. I hope I do not miss anybody with this. No particular order. Recently, obviously, Danny Hodge. Today, Brodie Lee. Zeus. Tiny Lister. At age 62. Rocky Johnson. 75. Pat Patterson. La Parca. Kamala was one that I forgot about. Howard Finkel, the Fink. Hannah Kimura, 22 years old. Bob Armstrong at 80. And the two that really hit me, Road Warrior Animal at 60 years old. And I said this on Facebook before, I'll say it again. I'll always stand by it. If I could be half the man, half the father of this guy, I would be as happy as could be. Shad Gaspard at age 39.
Tracy Smothers.
Tracy Smothers was another one. Sorry, I skipped over him on this. These people gave their life for entertainment. They didn't have to. It's what they chose. They were bigger, a lot of them bigger than life. And, you know, some of them have made impacts one way or another, whether it be wrestling memories or such. But when they hit personal, like I said, for me, for Animal and Shad Gaspard, you kind of just sit back and you think, man, this is the wrestling world, not the WWE universe, not New Japan. The wrestling world lost great men and women this year. Some that have lived a full life, some that died way, way too early. We in wrestling in itself owes a lot to these individuals. Regardless of the state of wrestling today, wrestling wouldn't be here today with a lot of these guys. So I like to say, gone, but not forgotten. Classic wrestling, classic matches, classic people.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty heavy. That's a lot of names. Hadn't really thought about it. I mean, you know, you always think about it and you think you know until you hear the list. And if that were just a list of wrestlers, that would be quite a who's who. Unfortunately, it's a list of wrestlers that we've lost this year. It's rough. It's rough, and that's heavy. And especially with the news of Jonathan Huber. You know, this is coming to you on Sunday, but literally, you know, just a couple hours ago. It's been tough, but they leave, like Chad said, a lasting legacy. For us fans, it's tough. For their families, it's got to be unimaginable.
Guys, so I raise my glass one more time to all the wrestlers we lost this year. From Can Crushers here on the podcast in Can Crusher Nation, we love you. Thank you for putting your life literally on the line every time that you get in the ring and providing entertainment for us. You guys are unbelievable. Thank you very much. We love you. Guys, we'll be back next week. Bouncing back into wrestling and with our new project. So look at us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at CanCrusher69. And send us any emails you guys want about how horrible our predictions are. And we'll recap last year's or 2020's prediction next week here on Can Crushers. So for Chad, John, and Mark, remember, just because you're trash,
it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Guys, we love you. Thank you for welcoming us into your homes, your cars, your work, week in and week out. We love wrestling.